You will be able to see this webinar. You'll be able to see the recording of this webinar after the fact. I would like to welcome Elin Barton, but before we get started with her presentation on leveraging video, the easy way to create content and stay in your clients' minds. Video is so important. So this is a very important webinar, and I'm so happy that you're all here. But before we get started, I just want to give a little plug for SCORE. SCORE is a nationwide nonprofit organization. We're a partner of the Small Business Administration, or the SBA. We provide America's small businesses with free, totally forevermore free, confidential business mentoring. Our chapter, which is the Minnesota chapter, which is part Manatee and Sarasota counties in Florida, we have almost 90 volunteers who are waiting to help you. Our chapter was recently recognized as a district chapter of the year. We're very proud of that. So at what point in your business development can a SCORE mentor help you? Well, really, in all aspects of it. You're thinking about opening a business. As we were talking before some of you came on, you know, one of the things that we do is we listen to people's ideas and help them understand whether or not this is a viable concept. Or you're in the startup phase, you've actually started a business and now you want to grow it or help in some area, we can help you there. Or lastly, if you're thinking about selling or closing or even buying a business, right? You don't want to overpay, or if you're selling, you don't want to lose money that's on the table. So we can help you with those negotiations and understanding the value of your business. I encourage you to go to our website, visit minnesota.score.org is our website. There you can request a mentor, couple of buttons to help you do that. Find a workshop or a webinar. I was talking about one that we recently have had by Jeremy Petty, and it was a wonderful webinar. It would be available. You'd be able to click in the search box and put in Jeremy Petty and find his webinar. You can locate recorded podcasts or other resources. We have lots of templates. If you're looking for a business plan template, we've got that available to you as well. So please consider visiting our website, minnesota.score.org. We have some upcoming webinars you might be interested in. Of course, this one today, and then we take a little break for Christmas. And then, oh, look who's here, me. I'm going to be doing 2 webinars on Excel pivot tables, and 15 mind-blowing Excel tips. I've been teaching Excel for over 30 years, so I think I know a few tips along the way. Pamela Starr will be back to talk about making websites work for you in 2023. And then we have a very interesting presenter talking about intellectual property, you know, the difference between trademarks and patents and so forth. So all of those are available. Just go to minnesota.score.org and register for them. Lastly, I want to thank our sponsors and community partners. They keep the lights on. They pay for our operating expenses. You'll notice that a lot of these sponsors are actually banks. If you go to a bank with a SCORE mentor with you, there's a greater chance that they're going to listen to you because they know that you've been vetted. They know that some of your, if you're not listed, oh, thank you. Thank you, Latanya. If you're not listed for my Excel webinar, she recommends it. So it's not just me telling you that they're great. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Elin. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and give Elin an opportunity to share. And thank you, Elin. Welcome, Elin. And share away and take it away. There you go.
Fantastic. Thank you, Diana. Thank you guys for having me. Today, you are most definitely my people. I've been running my business for the past 14 years and have been working in the field of video since the 90s. I was just trying to do some math thinking, well, that's a long time, right? And a lot's changed in that time. And now I feel like video is no longer a nice to have, it's a must have. We're going to go through some numbers. I'm going to show you why I really do believe that that's true. Do you need to spend a lot of money on production? Not necessarily. There's a lot you can do yourself. Diane was saying free is the language we like to hear as small business owners. I totally get that. So I'm going to walk you through the process that we use at my company. It's called White Knight Productions. And we'll just go through that. And we'll definitely leave time for questions at the end. So before I get started, I always like to ask, have any of you, by any chance, I'm just going to guess, have any of you been told that maybe you should be doing more video? I was curious, why are people here? So if that's you, I'd love you to put it in the chat. Like, yes, that's me. Of course. Fantastic. Awesome. So what, may I ask, is getting in the way of you doing more video? Many things I can imagine. Time, know-how, fear. Yes, thank you for being honest. Skill, creativity. A voice for the drive. Does that mean a face for radio or something? I don't know. Just starting out, shying away from the camera, not knowing how to edit. Okay, great. Wonderful. Fear, which leads to procrastination. Yes. Yes, in so many things, and not knowing what content, and shy. Okay, great. I hope that I'm able to help begin to shift this for you in the talk today and to convince you to just get started. Even if you don't show those first videos to anybody but yourself, just getting started is a huge step forward. And why is it so important? Why do we need to be creating video and generally content? Well, you may recognize this guy. And I love this graphic because this is, much as I enjoy social media, I kind of also think of it as this monster, and it's always hungry and you always have to be feeding it. And, really, how often you feed it is kind of up to you. But if you have any social media presence, if you want to have a social media presence, you got to be creating content. Video content performs well, and I'm going to show you some evidence to prove that. And we'll get into that, but I want to first kind of give you a roadmap of what we're going to do today in our time together. So as I mentioned, I'm going to take you through the process that my company uses. It's a 3-step process, and we gave it a name because of course we did. We call it the Revenue Maximizer Blueprint. One of the points I really want you to get out of this talk today, and one of the things I really believe, is that just making video is not the point. You need to have other goals in mind. Your video is a tool to get you some results. It's not the point. So that's why we created the strategic visibility method. And this whole method, it's strategic. It's to get you to be more visible, and it's to get you to the results that you want and need, whether that's recruitment, retention, sales, whatever you're looking for. We can help you get there with video content when you're reaching the right audience, but you need to understand this isn't about just creating a pretty video because it's fun or whatever. Like that's a different talk, and that's not today. So we're going to be talking about strategy. So we have a 3-part strategy. These are the 3 parts. And the first part is really, it's the strategy. It's the pre-production work. It's before you ever pick up a camera. And it's really important. It's such an important part. I would say it's the most important part, even more important than shooting, even more important than editing, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but I believe it. It's the planning is really huge. Second, we call it the social sprint. This is the part where we're actually recording video. And I'm going to share with you a way that you can really be strategic about this too, so that you're maximizing your time and you're not going at it haphazardly and spending too much time per month or per week, or whatever amount of time you want to look at. It's possible to do and to record an hour a month and to get enough content for the whole month, a robust amount of content for the whole month. I'm going to show you how to do that. The visionary system is what we call it when we're putting our video out there to the world, and we want our video to be seen by our ideal client. We don't really care. I mean, it's fun, I guess, to get 1 million views on your video, but probably more beneficial if you get 10 views of your ideal client and your video resonates with them and they want to contact you, they want to purchase from you, they want to do something. And that's probably actually way better than putting out a cat video and getting 1 million views and your business isn't anything to do with cats. So we're going to help you think strategically because right now I happen to have a puppy. Her name is Goose. She's super cute. But, I could put out Goose videos all day long and you'd want to see them, but it wouldn't really help my business. So I'm not going to spend too much. I might put out a couple, but not too many of them. Okay. I would like to know, and again, if you could put this in the chat, why is this important to you? So you shared some of the things that are getting in the way. What do you hope to achieve when you're able to do video well? Why are you here? You could be a dozen other places right now. So you are here because you're hoping video will get you more what? Visibility will get you more what? Attract new clients. Thank you. Increase reach, streamline the process. Yes. Keep your funnel filled. Sales. Yes. Key to know, like, and trust. Yes. Videos. So good at that. Oh, these are coming in fast. Ideal audience, health coach. Wonderful. Yeah, this is so true. I was talking to somebody just yesterday, in fact, and she works in the diversity and inclusion space, helping corporations connect with these small businesses. And she was talking about how people can give a capability statement, they can give a website, but until they're able to give a video and tell their story, it's kind of like the missing piece of that, because it's a way to create a personal connection with that diversity officer, of that corporation, because it's something about, like somebody said, chemistry, something about that people feel a connection. And that's
humanizes your business, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, can you say that again?
It humanizes your business.
It humanizes your business. Yeah. Yeah. People still want to know who is behind the business. We're going to talk about that, looking behind the scenes, because people are curious and they love stories and they want to know your story. And there's a way to tell that story. So thank you guys for sharing all of that. That video can help with all the things you said. Absolutely. Promote your brand recognition, all of this. So in case you're not convinced, I'm going to give you some numbers, but let me just go through this really quick. So since 2018, people are watching more and more video online. In fact, it's doubled. And 2018, not that long ago. It's interesting. 87% of video marketers are reporting positive ROI, or return on investment. And that was only 33% in 2015. Again, that's a huge jump where people are really understanding how to leverage video and how to get a good return from it. 9 out of 10 people say they want to see more video from brands that they follow or that they're considering buying from. And all of these numbers, I should say, I need to add this to the slide, but all these numbers came from HubSpot, which is an organization that does a lot of research. And I think they're legit. You know, I know that video is important, but that's where these came from. Video is 20 times more likely to be shared on LinkedIn than other posts, but only a third of the people on LinkedIn are using video. So that's an opportunity if that's your audience. Twitter, I know we might have mixed feelings about Twitter right now, but if you're on Twitter, you may be seeing 10 times the engagement with a video than you would with a post without video. So, you know, if you're going to be posting on these platforms, it makes sense to consider adding it to your mix. It doesn't mean every post has to be video, but think about adding it. Finally, a lot of people resist TikTok, and there may be plenty of reasons to resist TikTok, but more and more conventional businesses are showing up there, and the numbers are incredible. You know, 1 billion users a month. People, 52% of them are purchasing something because of something they saw on TikTok. And sometimes it's businesses you wouldn't think. Real estate. I have a client that's an environmental, they're an environmental company. And she really wants to educate young people, and she really wants to start something on TikTok, which I think is very interesting. We haven't started yet, but you wouldn't have thought of that, you know, a year or two ago, perhaps, but that platform is evolving quickly. So with all of that said, we are going to first look at the Revenue Maximizer Blueprint as we work through this presentation. This is as I said, pre-production phase where we're doing our planning and we're figuring out what the heck we're going to say, where we're going to say it, who we're going to talk to, all of those things. Here are some tips and some ideas of some of the things you can do before you pick up your camera in your planning stage. Everybody's situation is a little different, so all of these might not apply to you, but I want to share them because you also might not think about them as an opportunity. So before you even think about what kind of content you're creating, you may want to take a look at your social media sites and consider what's performing well. What kind of content do people like? You're already putting out content, probably. So, you know, just take a look and see what are your most popular posts. That may give you a clue as to what type of content to produce. You might want to also look at your competitor sites. It can be really good data. Just look at what time of day they're posting, what type of content they're posting. Don't worry about if it's good or bad, or if you'd like to emulate it or not, but just gather information. It's good to know anyway. You are probably, maybe not, but probably doing something with SEO already. Many of you already have websites. Most of you probably have websites. And I'm sure that there's been webinars on SEO and how you can use keywords strategically in your website to get more traffic coming to you organically. Well, you can do that in videos too. And I'm going to show you more about how to do that later. But think about some of those keywords. Some of those keywords might actually inform the kind of content you want to create. They might help you start to write some titles of videos. You know, maybe it's a weird way to go about it, but it's a strategic way to go about it. If you're matching keywords that you're already trying to use for your website with what you're doing in the video. I'm going to talk to you a little bit later about how to post your video on a site like YouTube or Vimeo, and when it's appropriate to use that base video and embed it in a website or elsewhere, and when it's not appropriate to do that. There are tips on best practices for both. But I want to mention right now that YouTube is the second largest search engine after Google, and it's owned by Google. So they play well together. And you can very much leverage those SEO terms and words. So that can be a very interesting opportunity. Decide how much content you want to create. So like I mentioned, every single post you do doesn't need to be a video. But in general, how often do you want to be posting? Are you a once a week person? Are you 3 times a week? Are you, 5 times a week? A great goal is to be consistent. So, maybe you're posting a video every month or a video every week, and then 2 other pieces of content. I'm going to show you how you can derive all of that content from your hour of video recording, if you're smart and strategic about it. But it's very helpful to just know what you're aiming for. How much do you want to post? And what is the right answer here? It depends. The best answer is to say, be consistent. If you're a twice a week person, just be twice a week and post on the same days at the same times, unless you're experimenting to see when your posts are performing better. But once you kind of figure that out, just be consistent. You'll do better in the algorithms, and you are more likely to be seen by your ideal clients. So this is a good thing. And what do you want to say? What kind of content do you want to be posting? This all ties back to your strategy. And again, it's personal. This is maybe not going to apply to everybody, but here are some ideas. First of all, think about your goals. Think about your ideal customers, and you may have already done work on creating an avatar of your ideal customers, and you may already understand who they are, where they hang out, what they care about. If you haven't done that work, we're not going to cover that too much in this talk today, but there's plenty of resources online. I'm sure SCORE has plenty of resources to just start to really break down who is your ideal client. And then you can begin to develop messaging that resonates with them. Because again, your video is a tool. It's not really, its purpose isn't to like boost your ego or anything. Its purpose is to do a job for you. And that job is sales or like whatever you're looking for. That said, every video, even if your goal is sales, every video or piece of content you create shouldn't be just a sales pitch, because that would be boring and people would tune you out. And most likely they would like stop following you, or, it would be, that wouldn't be interesting to them. So that's why it's important to develop a cadence of content that is interesting to them. And every so often you can throw in a direct sales pitch. About maybe 10% of the time it can be a direct sales pitch. The majority of the time, it should be something that relates to your business, but does so in a more creative way. I'm going to give you some ideas here of some of the content people find interesting. So behind the scenes, like we said earlier, people like stories. They like to see what's going on behind the scenes. They want to know. Diane said video is a great way to personalize your business. There's people running your business. So let us see, who those people are, what they're doing. It's also a way to kind of showcase your culture. If you're showing, some of your employees or yourself working with customers, or, there's a lot that's going on in a video. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I have it actually behind me on, it was a postcard, but they say a video is worth 1.8 million words. And whether or not that's true, certainly a lot of information is conveyed that you receive subconsciously when you watch a video. You might not even recognize that you're seeing it, but you're going to pick up things about a company's culture. You're going to pick up things about their product or how they treat their customers. It's subtle sometimes, but we understand how to read these cues. So sometimes you're building your brand, you're building a place that people find attractive when they want to apply for a job. You know, like there's other benefits that you might not even recognize when you start making this content. People like following your story. They meeting your team, you know, hearing the real, like, personal, who are the people? What are they about? That can be really interesting. These videos can be short. We don't need a full biography, but a little sense of the people can be really interesting. And it's a boost for your employees to be asked to be in a video. You know, it's a way to show that you respect them and you value them. Sometimes it's really interesting to debunk conventional wisdom. So it's like, everybody thinks this about my industry, but actually it's like this, or, you know, something that everybody thinks. If you can find a way to flip it, it's interesting, and people will seek out content like that. And if you leave them with something that they can walk away and think about and bring up at the dinner table, and, you know, just keep it just helps keep you top of mind. All of these are pieces that work together. It's like leaving breadcrumbs, and you have to kind of continually be pushing at it, but all of your content together is going to begin to create this big picture of who you are. Humor is great to use in videos. It has to match your brand. It has to be, you know, the appropriate kind of humor, but it can be really effective because, again, it's the type of thing that people want to see. And if you think about what you're doing when you're creating content, people are looking at social media and they're scrolling, and you want them to stop. You know, you want them to see you and to watch your content. So you have to make that as appealing and as interesting as possible, and also probably short if we're talking about social media, and we'll talk about that. Personal stories, people love stories. So if you can find a way to tell a personal story and wrap it into your business, fantastic. I know somebody that recently went on a big multi-day hike in Peru, and it was hard, and she trained for it. And she was able to tell stories about that and wrap it into her business as a sales coach, and how she helps her clients, you know, reach their goals and climb the mountain and things like that. But because she's taking video and content when she's on this actual journey, it was interesting, and it tied back to her business. So that to me is like winning content. It's very, very good. Okay, so I told you that I'm going to help you think about creating a lot of content from your 1 hour of video recording. This is a strategic tip for you that I would highly recommend, because I know you guys are busy, you're business owners. So when you've done all this pre-work and you figure out your message and you figure out your audience, you can strategically record X number of videos. Again, I'm not going to say a number because this depends on your strategy. Well, I will say a number. Let's say you're going to record 8 short videos, 4 weeks in a month, 2 videos a week. So you've got 8 topics, you got 8 scripts. You can record them yourself with your phone. You can get somebody to help you. I'll tell you some tips to, you know, make that look better and sound better. So when you're recording when you're doing the recording, after the recording, you're going to have all this content you've created, and you're going to do other things with it besides just make your 8 videos or whatever number. You're going to transcribe the whole thing. There are services you can access that are free. They use AI to transcribe the video. There are services you can pay for. They're inexpensive. The one I use is called otter.ai. It's like the animal otter. And it costs, I think it costs $200 a year, something in that ballpark. And we use it all the time. And we never max out our minutes. Like the amount of minutes that they give you is huge. And we upload videos like all the time to it. It gives you a transcription very quickly, and it's pretty It's not 100% accurate, but it's not bad. So just create a transcription because you're going to get other content from these videos that you've recorded. You can get, for example, blog material. You've got the content. It's okay if it's somewhat repetitive of what you recorded. That's okay. You can, change the words a little bit, but it can be the same concept, and it's okay because it like reinforces one another. SEO tip, side note, Google really likes it when it believes that you're legit. And how does it know if you're legit? Well, you're putting out the same message all the time, and your message resonates with like the core things on your website are similar to like your core messaging that you're putting out. And Google starts to understand that you're real and you know what you're talking about, and you're a good match for people that are looking for your thing, whatever your thing is. So having content that kind of overlaps, it's not a bad idea. What I would do, depending on and again, this is a general presentation, but depending on what kind of content you're creating, sometimes people like to do interviews. They like to be interviewed, or they like to interview somebody else in their field, for example. So that type of video might end up being kind of long. In that case, I would say start a YouTube channel if you don't already have one. And your longer content, that's a great place to put it. You can pull out shorter bits from longer content, but people, really like longer content too. And you can build a really good community there on YouTube, which again is like a whole other talk. But I would recommend putting longer videos there, not on social media directly. But what I would do is create a social teaser video, a shorter version, and direct people to your YouTube. And you can get all this content from that 1 hour of shooting if you're just organized about what you're shooting. You don't have to get overwhelmed, and you don't have to make 8 videos a month either. It's just an example. Audiograms are, again, another way to get that thumb stopping content. And it's, you've seen them. I know you've seen them. It's like a static image with, usually it has like an audio line that moves as you hear the person's voice. And you'll also see the words that they're saying. So there's movement in it. It's subtle. It's not an actual video. It's called an audiogram, but you can take a snippet from your video that you recorded and create an audiogram. There's lots of programs that do this. It's easy, and it's another piece of content you can get. When you look at your transcript, you can also pull out one of the brilliant things you said, because I know you said something brilliant as you're talking about your business that you know about. So those, if you find a short phrase or a sentence that you said, and you go back and you read it and you say, that's not bad. That's a great post. Just, take that sentence out, attribute it to yourself, put it with a graphic, and, there you have another piece of content that kind of matches everything, and you begin to build continuity. And then, think about including video in your newsletter. To the best of my knowledge, you have a thumbnail that looks like a frame from the video, and it can have a play button, on the thumbnail, but you have to actually host the video itself someplace else. I don't believe you can actually send a video in like a MailChimp, to the best of my knowledge, or other services. That could be wrong. Things are always changing, and I don't know about every single service out there, but as far as I know, you have to host it and then just put a link in your newsletter. But it can look like a video, and people like to click on those things, and they like to watch video. Like we do it with our own newsletters, and we don't include video every time. You might be surprised to hear, but we do it at least a couple times a month, and we always get higher engagement. So it's all those stats I showed you, they're true. People like watching videos.
You wouldn't really want to embed it. It would be too large in a emails.
You
So,
wouldn't want to put the real video in the newsletter. No, you'd want to put a link, but you can put a
Yes.
picture of the video.
yes, absolutely.
Yep, for sure. And then I just want to show you like an example. Again, everybody will be different, but you, as you're building out your strategy, you're going to be creating a content calendar for your month. And all of this content, really can come back to the hour of recording, because you're going to be getting so much robust video in that hour, and then be able to extrapolate all this other stuff from it. So this is an example just to get you thinking about what is possible. And I want to keep going because I have some more slides to go through, and I want to leave time for questions. So now I'm going to turn my attention to part 2 of this method. And part 2 is the social sprint. This is where we're actually shooting video. Some of you expressed some trepidation about this, and I want to assure you that the more you practice, the better it gets. And I have to say, honestly, I do not love being in front of a camera, but I do it on a regular basis, and it definitely gets easier. You just have to get over it. Like just start doing it. Start watching yourself, and just, trying different things, trying different framings. I'll give you some tips on how to maximize what you have to work with. Many of you will have a smartphone, and those phones have really good cameras. We do remote video shooting at White Knight. One of the things we do, and we use people's smartphones. We remotely direct them and record, but we use their smartphones because why wouldn't we? Everybody has these really good cameras. So, you don't have to go buy really expensive equipment. These are tips that you probably know, just from Zoom. Pay attention to your background and your framing. Make sure that your head isn't cut off and you don't have a weird thing behind you, so it looks like a plant's growing out of your head or something. You just make sure your framing looks nice. And you can play around, you can practice. If you have somebody to help you, it's a little easier. If you can also do it yourself. Your delivery. This is just practice and critiquing yourself, or show it to somebody else to get some tips. If you want to pay, there are coaches out there that will help you, but it's really a matter of just practicing and watching other people. Somebody was asking me about how do you interview people, because maybe that's part of your strategy. Maybe you're into thought leadership. And I think one of the best ways to learn how to interview people is to find someone who's really good at it and watch them. There's shows, there's podcasts, just find someone you really enjoy and observe them, and just start to try to channel what they're doing. And it just takes practice. It just takes practice, and it's an evolution. You have to start somewhere. So just start. It's not going to kill. It's not painful. I promise. Consider how long you want your video to be as you're in your planning stage. When you're shooting your video, if your goal is social media, and if your goal is, for example, maybe under a minute video, when you're recording, it's really helpful if you know this in advance, and if you don't ramble on for 20 minutes, knowing that you want to get 1 minute. So it's like a little bit of planning. It's like when you practice your elevator speech, you need to be concise. So you're going to need to, practice your content. You can use a teleprompter app. If you want to read it, just try to practice so it doesn't sound like you're reading, or give yourself notes or bullet points. But it's much easier to edit if you start with something shorter than if you're starting with something very long, if you're going for a short video. Lighting and audio really, really matter. And people will get a poor impression of your brand. You know, like I said, the 1.8 million words, the video, people perceive, you know, different things, and you might not even be aware that you're perceiving it. But if your audio is really bad, that's so annoying and it's hard to fix. So try to record in a quiet space. Maybe you want to purchase a lavalier microphone that works with your, like a clip-on microphone that works with your phone. They're out there. They cost $50 or less on Amazon. You know, you can find one, and it will improve the sound. It will help with echo. Like my room right now is a little echoey. This is a new office. I need to get a rug. But try to make the audio as good as you can. Quiet is important. Lighting is important. You know, make sure you're in a light space that has good natural light, or you have lights on you. You don't want to look dark. You don't want to be backlit, you know, all of those things. So just as hard as it is, especially if you're resisting doing video, just force yourself to look at it, like analyze what's going on in your video and do what you can to make it better. Ask a friend, you know, for their opinion. Okay. Some people were asking about editing, and there are programs. I can't teach you to edit right now, but you know, just like everything, you got to practice. There are free programs. There's a good one called DaVinci Resolve, DaVinci, like Leonardo da Vinci. And they have, I'm pretty sure it's free. They have a good, robust, and of course they have a pro version you can buy, but they have a good free version. iMovie, you know, is basic, but you know, it's something. There's lots of programs that you can play with, at least to learn the basics. There's plenty of YouTube videos and all of that stuff. So if you're motivated, you can learn how to edit. It is a little time consuming, but you can set yourself up for success by planning and, you know, making sure that you'll have to edit like as little as possible. That's helpful. Please use captions. If you're creating video for social media, you can add on captions. You can create a caption file. If you can't do that in your editor, when you upload your video to social media, you can generate the captions, but you must edit them or they will be incorrect. It's important to make sure your video is accessible. And it's important to, like, when you're trying to create that thumb stopping content, a lot of people don't have the audio on in social media. So if you don't have captions, they're just going to go past your video because they don't know what it's about. And they, most of the time, can't be bothered to stop, turn on their audio, and listen to your video. So please use captions. It's the right thing to do. A call to action. What do you want people to do? You want them to buy from you, go to your website, apply for a job, you know, make sure you include that. Every video you make doesn't have to say, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, but it could direct people to your website. You know, it could send them to your YouTube channel. It could do something just in case they want more information. Don't use copyrighted music or images. That's not cool. And if you do that, you can get shut down and blocked. So don't do that. Okay. Doing good on time. It is 38 minutes, according to my clock. And I'm at the last part of this. And this is the visionary system. So this is where you've done your strategy, you've done your recording, you've done your editing, you've done your captions. And now you're going to put your content out there into the world, and it's going to be found by your ideal client. And how are we going to make that more likely to happen? Here's some tips. I mentioned SEO earlier. So a lot of people, it's surprising, a lot of people forget all about SEO when they post a video. You want to, let's just say you're posting a video on YouTube for the purpose of this example. You want to have a title that people are going to search for and understand what your video is about. Sounds basic, but you wouldn't believe the number of people that don't do this. So have a good title. On YouTube, you have the ability to write a very long description of your video, and I would recommend doing that. You can use hashtags, you can use keywords, you can include a transcript of your video. You know, you can really maximize the opportunity for people to find you, because all of those keywords matter when people are looking for you. So use them. So many people don't do this. So many people don't bother titling their video or writing a description, but not you, because you come to this webinar. So hopefully you'll remember to help yourself be seen more easily. When you're putting your videos out on social media, a lot of what I've been talking about is designed to help you get more organic, people coming organically to see your content. I didn't really talk about paying to have more people view your content. However, depending on what platforms are important to you, let's take Facebook, for example. If that's an important platform for you, it can be difficult, even for your followers of your page, to see your content if you're not paying something. It doesn't have to be a lot, but Facebook in particular very much encourages you to boost your post with you know, a little bit of money. And it could be a couple of dollars, depending on your audience, you know, $5, 10, 20. You might not need to boost every single post, but if it's something you've put a lot of time and effort in and you feel like it's important and you have a good call to action, this can be an effective and relatively low cost way to test your work and to advertise your whatever it is you're trying to do with your visibility. So sometimes I would consider paying in certain cases to get your content seen by more of the right people, and then you can target even further who's seeing your content, which comes back to the avatar that we talked about earlier. Okay, I promised to talk about this, and I'm just going to briefly do that. Posting, embedding, and native posting. I just want to tell you what each one is and where you would use it. So as Diane said, videos are large files, and putting a video in an email, it's probably not going to work. It's probably going to get blocked. It'll go to spam. Like most email clients won't take a video in their email because it's just like a bad idea. So what we generally want to do is host it on YouTube, host it on Vimeo, host it on Wistia. There's other websites that are hosting sites. And from that site where your video lives, you get what's called an embed code. You can then take that code, it's very easy, and you put it in your website. So your video just shows up on your website nice and pretty, and it plays properly, even if you're looking, you know, whether you're on a Mac, whether you're on a PC, whether you're on Safari or Firefox, or, you know, like those players where the videos are hosted, they're really clever, and they know how to recognize what kind of device you're on and how to maximize the video. And YouTube has put a whole lot of money behind that. So like, just use them or some other platform like them, because it will make your life much easier. So that's hosting and embedding. Embedding is just getting that code and putting it in your blog or your website. Native posting, however, is what we recommend for social media. And I'm not talking about YouTube right now, I'm talking about the other social media. The reason is, so your options would be to upload your video directly to like a Facebook, or to include your YouTube link in your Facebook post. I would say upload your video directly because of these reasons. Facebook wants you to not leave Facebook, so they will not promote your post at all organically if you're trying to get people off their platform. They want you to stay there. So, and if you upload your video organically, it will automatically play. So there's movement, the video is playing, people don't have to press play. So when they're scrolling through their feed, they see the video playing and are more likely to stop, especially with the captions. So social media upload natively, otherwise rely on YouTube and Vimeo. And I know I'm just about out of time. I'm going to talk fast. I'm almost done. Metrics, track your metrics, look at what's doing well, what's not doing well, do more of the things that do well. It's really important. A lot of people don't look at their analytics, but they're available. They're on all the sites. So look at them and learn what's working, what's not working, and do more of the things that are working is generally a good practice. So just really quick, I started off this whole thing by saying an hour a month is going to get you enough content for the month. I just want you to understand that there is a little bit more to it than that. It's an hour of shooting a month, but you do have to make time for some of these other things like the audit of the social, developing any branding elements if you don't have them, brainstorming content, organizing your thoughts, editing and graphics, writing and posting content. So it can add up to a lot of hours. It is definitely something you can do on your own. You can get help from, my company helps with these things. Other companies help with these things. Obviously, there's a cost involved, and I understand you guys are small businesses. This is totally doable on your own. You can figure out how to do that, delegating to people on your team, so on and so forth. It's very doable. You just have to get organized and get strategic. So this, am I allowed to share my calendar? This is my calendar if you want to see it.
Sure.
If you would like to, if you've got questions or would like to speak with me. And I want to leave you with this quote by Brené Brown, and this may address some of those issues that some of you expressed at the beginning. Being authentic, being vulnerable, showing up on video, that's a great way to connect with your audience. And it's a great way to really build your brand. It is a brave move. It takes courage, it takes practice, but it does get easier. I promise it gets easier. And each of you has the ability to do this. So I hope that you will at least think about trying, at least think about starting, and just go from there. Just the first step is the hardest one. So
we've
with
got
that,
a couple of good questions in the chat.
I have not been monitoring the chat.
That's okay. David is saying, what's the minimum length of YouTube shorts? I assume MI is minimum.
The minimum length of YouTube, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Linda has an interesting question. How to create videos when you cannot appear yourself, since you are above, quote, the age of credibility, unquote, and you do not have access to younger resources. Is this a major issue? This is a major issue for us.
Is this a major issue? Okay, interesting.
It is a major issue for her, she feels.
Okay. Well, I would challenge you on that, but I understand. So I would say there are so many different kinds of videos, and there are so many different ways. I don't know what her business is, but so many different ways to present authority. Sometimes maybe it's interviewing other people, younger people, maybe it's showing that you're relevant and interested by, bringing on influencers and having conversations with them. Maybe it's doing video where you're voicing over some content. There's just so many different kinds. You don't even have to, you can make videos from, just images and graphics. You don't have to be in the video. being in the video is a nice way to showcase your personal touch with your brand. But it's I don't know, it's personal choice.
SD is saying, what time of day for posting? I think of time zones being in the PNW with EST, Eastern Standard, 3 hours ahead. So what would be my ideal time?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what we would generally recommend is to understand your avatar, where are they and when are they there? And it is tricky with time zones. I have clients that have clients all over the world, and so they have to figure it out. And it's going to require some trial and error. Sometimes there is a school of thought where sometimes people are trying to post, they're trying to hit lunchtime, whatever time zone that is. So maybe you're hitting lunchtime in the East Coast, and then it's beginning of the day in the West Coast. Some people like to go for like the after work time, thinking that people are checking social in the evening. I don't have the perfect, it's going to depend on your audience and what their habits are. I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer.
No, good answer. Someone said that YouTube shorts are 15 to 60 seconds. So we've all learned.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was thinking like on YouTube, I know the pre-roll ads, which are different, like they can be as short as 6 seconds, but I wasn't sure about the shorts. So thank you for that.
Michelle is saying, how do you determine the right hashtags to use to get in front of your target audience when there are so many hashtags and groups? YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, blah, blah. Blah,
blah, blah. I know. Well, again, it's a strategy. Some people like to choose a mix of hashtags that are relevant and really popular, and hashtags that are more specific to your brand or to your audience. Again, I hate to keep saying this, but it takes trial and error. And nobody has a magic answer for you. If they tell you they have a magic answer, they're lying. You can go to, there's websites like Hashtagify, I think is the name of the website. And you can put in, and this is a good tip. I'm pretty sure it's called Hashtagify, and somebody can look that up and confirm if that's true. But you put in a hashtag and that you think is good, and it will spit out information to you about like better ones, how often that one is used, and give you suggestions. So you could use tools like that. It's a bit of trial and error.
Steve is suggesting to only use 5 at a time, 5 tags.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. But definitely optimize your keywords. You have opportunities on many, your descriptions. Use those keywords too.
Someone is also
thank you, Estee.
Someone is also suggesting that Betty White appealed to audiences of all ages. So
yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's a limiting belief. I don't want to, I don't know your business, but yeah, she sure did. And I think people's perception, I know as women, this is a whole other conversation, but we have a lot of
there. Go ahead.
Right. But I think that it's changing these days. And I think people are more accepting that like aging is a good thing, you're wiser and all of that, but I understand. So
I do think a lot of that is right here in our heads, and we need to get over that. I'm of a certain age and I'm still viable. People are still paying me for my opinions, and I'm happy about that. Thank God for aging. Yeah, Steve, the alternative is not good.
That's a good point. That's what I'm saying. And you have an interesting perspective. And as long as you're keeping up with, trends and, I'm sure you have a lot of interesting things to add to the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think you had good suggestions.
Yeah.
even just a voiceover.
It's an option. It's
It's
definitely
an
an
option.
option.
Exactly. Good. Well, I think, thank you, Steve. Love you, Steve. I don't know. All right. We're getting maybe some matches going on here. Thank you, Ellen. I think we have caught up on our questions. Just want to do a last minute pitch. If you don't have a SCORE mentor, I want to say, why not? They're free. We have a point of view that's different from your family and friends. We might actually tell you the hard stuff that they're not interested or that you're not listening to from them. So if you don't have a SCORE mentor, go to minnesota.score.org, click on find a mentor, and we'll find one for you that probably has experience in your industry, or at least can help you with your questions. We have our workshops coming up. Click on that. Podcasts that have been recorded, templates that we have in our library. We've got lots going on. You're going to be getting an email from our SCORE parent organization. You're going to get 2 emails, actually. One is from us with a link to this recording and a copy of Ellen's wonderful slides, but you'll also get one from our national organization asking what you thought about this survey. So I think Ellen would be happy to get any feedback that you have. Another question on that survey is, what other topics are you interested in? And as the education chair, I really am interested in that. I think we have one question, depends upon the content's purpose, but generally, oh, okay. And newsletters. How long should your video be in a newsletter? What do you think, Ellen?
I would say it
Rule of
depends on the
thumb?
content, but like 60 to 90 seconds, maybe 2
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
It
don't
depends.
understand.
I just did one. I have to admit that mine was like 4 minutes, but I wrapped up the year. Like it was a retro, looking back on the whole year. So it was longer. And I haven't looked at how that performed, but generally short is
Short.
good. Yeah.
One last question from Esty. What about live videos? Aren't those hot now?
Yeah, they are. And there are ways you can do live videos and they're not actually live, which is kind of nice. There's services like StreamYard you can use. Again, not expensive, and they work quite well. They have nice branding that you can control. And you can pre-record like live videos, which is kind of nice if you are not comfortable doing live videos. But they are hot, and people are definitely interested in them.
I think the word live just brings fear to your heart. So
it can, it's because you feel like you can't control, you don't know what's going to happen, so you can pre-record them. It's
yes, I like that.
A little bit of a secret. Yeah,
I'm into editing.
yeah.
Yes, wonderful. Well, of course, I did a live and survived. Of course, this has been wonderful, Ellen. I truly appreciate the time that you spent with us, the sharing your knowledge and your expertise. It is wonderful. I hope that we can have you back someday, maybe with a different or related topic. We would love to have you back. So thank you so much for coming. I'm going to stop sharing, and I will then end our webinar. On that note, everybody have a great holiday season. This is the end of our webinars for the year, but we'll be back full force come January. Every Wednesday we have a webinar. Go to our website, minnesota.score.org. Did I say that enough? And sign up for any and all webinars, and I think you'll be happily pleased with the results. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye all.
Okay. Bye, everybody.